Hey everyone and welcome. Today we'll be running you through a game from one of the world's most legendary and best junglers to date, RNG's Kai'Sa. If you've ever played a game where the enemy jungler was just all over you, seemingly landing successful ganks on all of your laners while invading your important camps, then you're not the only one, and there's few who can pull this off better than Kai'Sa, who achieves just that in this game, averaging an incredible kill per minute for the first 13 minutes in top Korean Challenger. In this matchup, he's playing Lee Sin into a Taliyah. This is Lee favoured because Taliyah has long cooldowns while clearing camps and can easily lose a skirmish to an invade to a gap closing champion. So Kai'Sa's plan this game is to get aggressive from the start. Let's see how he does it. To start, he secures a ward on both river brushes right away. We've talked about this in previous videos and is currently a meta standard, as it will likely scout out which scuttle the jungler goes for alongside keeping your laners safe from early ganks. To do this yourself, ward at 1 minute 10 in the pixel brush and ask your mid laner to do the same at their pixel brush at 1 minute 20. There are slightly varying times here to optimize your warding, but this will do the trick. Anyway, he's starting red buff, a great choice for getting the buff right away to win early skirmishes around any scuttle fights, while also giving his bot lane an easier time not having to leash. He heads straight to the blue into Gromp right after. Because he has the winning jungle matchup, he's not interested in clearing full camps to power farm to 6 and instead wants to get aggressive early. By doing red into blue into Gromp scuttle, this will give Lee level 3 right away. Taliyah gets spotted on that double ward opener as planned, which leaves Lee with an easy choice, to contest scuttle with his early advantage. Taliyah immediately backs off when Lee shows, which is a very easy decision on her part and for good reason. Firstly, she knows that Lee will straight up win the 1v1, especially with red buff advantage. Secondly, Taliyah doesn't have priority in mid or bot lane, so there's no way that she can contest this even if she's stronger without a high chance of dying. Lee secures a scuttle, but senses his Korean solo queue, all hell breaks loose as both teams react to the situation, so let's take a look first and then break it down. Alright, so while this may have looked like a complete fiesta, there are a couple of sweet takeaways that we can get here that divide Kai'Sa's decision making from challenger players and below. He knows that bot lane is missing, and he has ward and W available the whole time, but he's waiting for the bot lane to show for a potential flank. However, he then sets his sights on Taliyah, who's actually in kill range despite warding over into the enemy bot lane. This decision making may seem less impressive as we're breaking it down and analysing with hindsight, but in the moment where everyone else would just go for the Tristana here, which would result probably in an exchange of flashes, it wouldn't have killed her. Instead, he flashes through the bot lane to straight up kill Taliyah, who still has flash but no time to react to this play as is super unpredictable, and now he's secured a kill immediately instead of just forcing a summoner from Tristana. He then hits the closest target with red buff and Jace flashes over the wall. It looks like he's sliding here, but he flashed. Without the numbers, the enemy team back off and they secure the red buff, starting Kai'Sa off with a 3 buff clear and a kill. It's time for round 2, and the end result of this second skirmish is a trade in mid laners 1 for 1 after Taliyah returned bot side to fight again. So after all of this craziness, if you are the Lee Sin, where would you go next? While Kai'Sa is now ahead of their jungler and is on the early game champion, it's up to him to snowball now and convert it to a team advantage since both teams are still even. If Kai'Sa was to go bot side to Krugs here, he could easily throw. Taliyah is there, who he can 1v1, but Thresh Tristana are also around who would easily collapse any invade. So Kasa steals the Raptors instead. As both mid laners are dead, it would only be Taliyah that could try and contest this, and she would lose. Taliyah does show but can't do anything about it, and reveals that she's pathing topside. He begins pathing to his botside jungle to clear wolves, but we know that Jayce is coming back to lane after respawning, and the minimap tells us that his wave is pushing towards Karthus. If you are Lee, would you enter this brush to set up a gank, or would you go to clear the wolves? So there's no definitive answer here, but the important thing is what you thought about during that pause to make your decision. As we can see, the wave is pretty huge, and Karthus isn't in lane just yet. So this wave will push all of the way to the tower, so if Kasa goes for a gank right away, he would likely force Karthus to decide between a huge wave or following up a fairly awkward gank into a big minion wave. If Kasa kills wolves first, it would give Karthus time to pick up the wave, and then Kasa can return for a gank if Jayce tries to use his wave for harass or tower damage like Jayce players do. So Kasa does just that. He goes ahead and kills the wolves and returns because Jayce is pushed up with no flash from before. Karthus makes his gank incredibly easy via engaging with wall immediately, so there's just no way that this does not work with Taliyah topside jungle as well. Kasa goes ahead and clears Raptors, thus staying on the map. He has 3 kills worth of gold right now, unspent, so it would be logical to assume that he needs to back to actually get the value from getting these kills. But since he has red buff, and much more importantly a 2-level lead on the Taliyah, the experience advantage here is worth its weight in gold, and he has more than enough value on the map right now to continue snowballing. Anyway, he heads topside as Poppy just took a super close trade with the Aatrox and has to back off. By heading top here, he could kill Aatrox as he's low, or at the least soak the wave at the tower. Let's take a look. A little bit questionable from the Poppy, but nonetheless another kill for Kasa in this 1-for-1. So far, even though we're now analysing the slightly winning side, you get the feeling that everything the enemy team is doing is getting shut down by Kasa's presence. We will evaluate how he does this at a high level in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at what he does next. Upon recalling, as the Lee Sin here, where would you go next on the map? Kasa goes straight for bot side for a number of reasons. Firstly, his camps are respawning there, so it's just efficient, alongside the next scuttle being bot side. Secondly, the enemy bot lane is clearly pushed up, while his Kai'Sa Alistar are low. So there's likely a play that could be made down there in the near future, whereas the top mid area doesn't have much going on in comparison. As he's killing Gromp, Kasa has his eyes on the bot lane the whole time, with the intent of grabbing the blast cone and ganking if any kind of engage happens. Thresh uses both Hook and Lantern, leaving him with abilities on cooldown, making way for an easy gank. Let's take a look. And there we have it. Kasa now has 6 kills at 6 minutes, landing a kill in every area of the map while clearing his jungle and invading multiple camps. Let's recap and see how he does it. So we have to go back to the start and think about the theory behind Kasa's decisions and why they've got him into this great position. What we're explaining here won't have you at 6 kills at 6 minutes every game, but hopefully when you do get these early leads, you won't instantly throw them like we've all done before. So this all really started in the lobby. Having the counter matchup as a strong early game jungler empowers Kai'Sa to make every decision with aggression in mind, starting at the red buff. Taliyah started blue, likely to secure top scuttle to avoid Lee and not make her bot lane leash, though she got no leash herself and just fell behind in tempo immediately. Taliyah kills top scuttle and goes for a very greedy play to try for a double scuttle start, and we think that she was simply entering the river to scout Lee and tried to kill it before Kai'Sa arrived, but this just went horribly. This immediate collapse from both teams only really happens in Top Korean Challenger, but the big takeaway here is that Kai'Sa got a lead right away, and this could have easily just been done by an early bot lane gank or something. The point is he got 2 early kills, and it's what he translates that into which sets him apart from everyone else. With the kills, Lee smartly steals Raptors while pathing back to bot side jungle. This means that Kai'Sa isn't losing time to move to steal camps and doesn't make the mistake of going head to head with Taliyah when the enemy bot lane could collapse. Now everything from this point just kind of lines up really well for Kai'Sa in terms of balance between his camp spawning and gank opportunities arising. He smartly goes for wolves while there isn't an immediate gank opportunity mid lane, but he does pay attention to the minion waves, knowing there will likely be one soon as Jace will push up. After killing Jace, Kai'Sa knows that he has a huge lead power on the map, so he goes topside before shopping because of his huge experience lead, often overlooked by most players. He pathed top lane, knowing that Taliyah is topside and he wanted to help the Poppy, and he scores another kill. The stars are definitely aligning here to reward Kai'Sa for his proactivity and set him up for a 4 kill recall at 5 minutes. And we're back to this amazing double kill that he goes for. As he levels up with kill experience, he goes for the ultimate, and it seems that whenever the enemy team steps forward, Kai'Sa is right there waiting and he doesn't stop. He ends up continuing to make plays all over the map with a perfect balance between stealing camps, clearing his own jungle, and ganking lanes. If you would like us to continue this breakdown of Kai'Sa's decision making in a part 2, then let us know. Thanks for watching and we will catch you next time.